Exxon Mobil's offshore drilling activities on Guyana's coast in 2019 resulted to the United Kingdom-based Guyanese environmental lawyer Melinda Janke suing the Ali regime in 2021 for being complicit since the U.S. oil company violated the 1996 Environmental Protection Act and more so endangered the country's ecosystems. This was Melinda Janke as a featured guest on Democracy Now!, a U.S.-based media podcast hosted by Amy Goodman.
Fossil fuels produce greenhouse gas, and greenhouse gas pollution is the problem that is causing climate change. Rising sea levels, which Antonio mentioned, will have a devastating impact on Georgetown, the capital city. And the greenhouse gas pollution from fossil fuels is also making the ocean more acid. We argue that what's happening here is destroying the right to a healthy environment.
Article 36 of the 1996 Environmental Protection Act mandates the preservation of clean air, fertile soils, pure water, the rich diversity of plants, animals, and ecosystems. At no point should this be compromised, Janke argued. Janke, who filed a case against Attorney General and Legal Affairs Minister Anil Nanalal, made it lucid that the state is violating the rights to a healthy environment.
The judge added Exxon Mobil to the case, and Exxon's approach is to say that the main testimony should be struck out. In that testimony by Dr. Troy Thomas, one of the litigants, he sets out the impacts of greenhouse gas pollution on the environment. So climate change, rising sea level, ocean acidification, a warmer ocean, etc.
Several Guyanese have illegally challenged the government's approval of oil exploration licenses, claiming it as it violates the state's legal obligation towards procuring a healthy and clean environment. The claimants, represented by attorneys Melinda Janke and Ronald Burke-Smith, lobbied for Exxon to immediately cease offshore drilling operations on Guyana's coast, cognizant of the environmental implications. Former EPA Director and Petroleum Engineer Dr. Vincent Adams, in an interview with this newscast, is disconcerted over what he described as the oil company's continuous breach of the country's environmental laws, clearly outlined the technical and environmental safety measures during oil and gas operations, as the country is likely to sink below sea level by 2030.
What I've always said is that it should be done safe and environmentally sound. The science and engineering and technology is there to do it safe and environmentally soundly. So Ms. Janke is to me is one of Guyana's heroes in terms of her courage to stand up for what is right for Guyana.
Adams is adamant that the U.S. oil company's offshore drilling activities on Guyana's coast can be conducted safely through acknowledgement of the country's environmental operating standards. The former EPA head flagged the government and the EPA for allowing the parent company, Exxon, to exceed the safe operating limit for Liza Phases 1 and 2. The environmental impact assessment outlined that Exxon cannot exceed the safe operating limit of 120,000 barrels of oil per day, Adams argued.
The EIA also says that the operating limit would be 100,000 barrels per day. Guess where Exxon is operating today? Around 150,000 barrels per day. Let me repeat. They're operating 150,000 barrels per day. That's 25% above the safe operating limit.
By 2025, the company is earmarked to produce over 800,000 barrels of oil a day, surpassing estimates for its entire oil and gas production in the southwestern U.S. Permian Basin by 100,000 barrels that year. The operations of Exxon's subsidiary, Esso Exploration and Production Guyana Limited, EEPGL, without full liability coverage or parent company guarantees, continues to be overlooked by the government, Adams posited. Antonio Day reporting for the AGP Nightly News.